Level 1, dancing donut. Dancing donut, donut dancing, whichever you prefer. Our air implement here that I found washed up, recovered this material out of place, and decided, oh, it's like a big, fat, inflated hula hoop. What a great tool to use. So we start with some level O's, warm ourselves up, stretch. And once again, we are paying attention to our feet, checking in to our foot position. We continue to pay attention to our breath, nasal breathing as much as possible. The more we practice it, the less we drop the ball. But the more we try a new implement, the more likely we are to drop the ball. And that's another thing to remember, is that when we're doing something new, we're more likely to drop balls that we're familiar with. And that's okay. The more we practice, the easier it gets, and then we can keep juggling all those balls without dropping any of them. And one of these balls is our feet, position of the feet, so that we can protect our knees. And that in turn will carry the force further up our bodies, and that we'll cover in our next cycle with our next two implements. But right now we want to do level 1, which is finding our centers. Now what's fun here is that we can get into the center of our donut and very much find our centers. And what's great is that we can stretch against it. We can press and pull against it. And in the process, really feel our bodies and really feel ourselves contained within those boundaries of circular motion. That is what we're working with in elementally intuitive movement, because circular motion is what keeps us within safe parameters. Our joints move along rotary and curvilinear movement planes. They move, the planes are the same planes, but as they move through the planes, the motion is either rotary or curvilinear. Because even when we try to go in a straight line, what happens? Our arm goes around in a circle. Why? Because of the design of the mechanics of our body. Our knees are more hinge joints, but they can also go out to the side with assistance of our hips. So being aware of these circular movements, this curvilinear movement, rotary motion, is very much assisted with our donut, because we can really feel that. So level 1, we maintain contact with the implement. Doesn't have to be both hands, it can just be one hand. We can stretch out that other hand as we maintain contact and move around. As we're doing this, we're getting familiar with different ways to move through space. We're stretching our bodies, we're mobilizing, and our feet are getting familiar with how to position themselves to most effectively move us through space as we're doing these movements with our donut. You can mix in some of the movements that you've learned already, because you're already familiar with going through all the levels of working with an implement. You're already familiar with all of the levels when it comes to your arm motions of elementally intuitive movement, but try to keep it more focused. Come back as much as possible to level 1 and maintaining contact with your body, because we are working on finding our center and proprioception. Part of this process is the recognition of how we go into autopilot once we're familiar with certain things, and that's great. It's great to recognize that our body's autopilot is working well, and that we can trust our autopilot to function when we need it to. But what's also good is practicing regaining the helm from autopilot and becoming navigator again and returning to the task at hand, which in this particular case is level O with our donut. And so we explore with our feet planted all the different ways that we could possibly imagine moving through space with our donut in contact with our body in some way, shape, or form, which is quite a lot. And you can entertain yourself for quite a while with that. And in the process, you get a great workout. How about that? We're mobilized. And we didn't even notice the time go by. It's pretty neat how that works because of the distraction Our attention is so divided that our perception of time speeds up. And that's pretty neat, because then we get a great workout. I, for one, never really enjoyed exercising, but I love doing this. And I feel way better in my body doing this than I ever did when I tried any other forms of exercise, which is why I'm here sharing it with you. Elementally intuitive movement, elemental manipulation, dancing donuts, and I'll see y'all next week for level 2, expanding into our spheres. Because if we expand into our spheres, then we have less fears. Yeah, babies. Be kind, be sweet, as much as you can. Thank you.